Good evening, my name is Jeremy Marvel, a fourth grade teacher here at New Augusta South Elementary School here in Pike Township. I come before the principal, PLC, and other central office staff members to discuss enhancing our school lockdown procedures. The proposed program is the ALICE training method, which a lot of schools around central Indiana and across the country are starting to use, and I will go through why I think that is a very good program that we should think about using. The disclaimer, of course, is not a very fun topic to discuss, but it's necessary. We owe it to our students, families, and ourselves to be prepared as possible in case of this event. Currently, our lockdown is the most used practice to protect against someone who is in the building. If there is someone in the building, the doors are closed, the lights are shut off, and everyone huddles in the corner and waits for something, police or someone else to take the active shooter down, and then all call is called again and people know it's safe. But you're at the mercy of the police or someone taking down that shooter in that time. Has 13 years of lockdown preparation yielded any improvements? You can see the last 3 major school shootings. There was only 1 or 2 people involved as a shooter. It only takes around 5 to 8 minutes. Those 3 were 5, 8, and 8.5 minutes. And you can see the most disturbing is that 50% of the people, or around 50% of the people who were shot at, were actually killed. The numbers killed in both were 13, or all 3, 13, 32, and 26. Locking down, hiding, is not the best case scenario for students. You're hoping that the shooter doesn't find you, or if he does, you're hoping that someone takes him down before he gets to your room, which is unfortunate. What are the benefits of a lockdown? For police and administration, one word tells everybody where to go. There's not a lot of verbiage. We know what to do as soon as that word comes across the PA. Everyone knows where people are located within the building, police and administration. The convenience, it's easily administered and followed. People know what to do. It's not too hard. For the shooter, same thing. The control. Practice or procedure requires everyone to remain. He knows that people aren't going to be running through the hallways, and he can take his time going room to room to search for people. Convenience, minimal action required to find those groups of students. Once he gets in the door, those students are usually huddled in a corner. Observations, these are disturbing as well. Police resolved incidents, takes them a couple minutes to get in the school. Those 3 or 4 minutes could be fatal to a number of students. 25% more fatalities happened when the police resolved a school shooting than when a victim inside the school resolved a school shooting. And then there were also 30% more non-fatal casualties, wounded students or faculty members, when police resolved it, just because it takes time for the police to get there. Why not empower those people inside the classroom, inside the school, to make the best decision and not wait for the school shooter to come and get everyone? The human reactions to fear, it's either fight, or freeze. Which does lockdown mostly resemble? Of course, it is freeze. People are locked somewhere in a building, in a room, and not paying attention. Or they're paying attention, but they're huddled in a corner waiting for the all call to happen. Is just one way always the best option? Is freeze just the best option? Why not flight if possible? Why not fight if it comes to it, unfortunately? And that's where ALICE comes in. Unfortunately, we take a really good lesson from Virginia Tech. 28 passive fatalities, only 2 proactive fatalities. That means people who are passive being locked down, hiding. There were a huge number of fatalities to those people than the people who were proactive. You can see this room 204, people were jumping from the window when they knew the shooter wasn't around until he found out and came in and got the last few people that were in there. This room was barricaded, room 205, more than just locking the door. They threw desks, they threw everything they could in front of it, and it took way too long for the shooter to get in there, and he didn't even bother after a while. The people who were just locked down, of course, 28 of those people died, and a lot of them were wounded. The ALICE training method, here is a website link. If you click on that website link, it goes to a lot of their training times and dates and locations. It gives you more information about ALICE and what it stands for. A lot of testimonials in there as well. A lot of this is common sense. It's not a linear response. Just because you do A and then go to B, It's not like that. You don't do A, B, then C. You use your information at hand to make the best possible judgment for you and those students. ALICE stands for alert, lockdown, inform, counter, and evacuate. Being alert, knowing what's going on, knowing where the shooter is, knowing that someone is in the building is key. Lockdown. If it is a normal lockdown, what to do during that lockdown? If there's an outside threat, know what to do during the lockdown. If it's an inside threat, what type of lockdown are you going to do? And then enhanced lockdown by barricading. They give some good ideas of what to do when there is an intruder instead of just locking the door and hiding. Inform, use information, use technology. Lots of ways to do that. ALICE trains everyone and how to inform everybody in the building, even when it seems like information wouldn't be able to be passed. Counter. Last case and worst case scenario, if someone does come into the room, gets through the barricading door, what happens then? Of course, we don't want to talk about things like that, but worst case scenario, use a lot of stimulus, distance, lots of movements, lots of distractions, things like that interrupt that shooter and can cause him not to be as deadly or as accurate as he would like. Evacuate. If you know where the shooter is, you have the knowledge, you know where you can take the students, that's already in place. You know where to go, parents know where to pick the students up, you know where there's a meeting point. That is all planned out as well. The budget for attending this training for every single principal in Pike Township is $595 for each principal for a 2-day seminar, $80 in gas because we would be driving to Lafayette, Indiana for a 2-day seminar like I mentioned. We will not stay, so it's a little bit money saved. $80 for gas for the 2 vans we would use for a total of $7,815. There is no revenue in there. We would not be raising money to send the principals. The second option is to just send the high school, the middle school, one middle school, and one elementary school principal. Once you're certified, those 3 people can train the other middle school or elementary school principals and the ALICE methods. You would still take the 2 vans, but you can see the cost is dramatically less expensive than the first one. Also, there is a Safe Schools grant that was put in place a few years ago. If we would like to apply for the Safe Schools grant, I would be willing to fill out all that information, get that sent off, and I know a few schools, like I mentioned earlier, Avon, a couple of their schools were accepted, and all of their principals got to go for free because they got enough money from the Safe Schools grant to attend. But again, we owe it to our students, we owe it to the families, and we owe it to ourselves to have a better plan put in place just in case an active shooter is in the building, and I believe that the ALICE training method is the way to go.